Shannon, does this third meeting mean that Jerry is going to keep Garrett as head coach?
No, not necessarily. And it's odd, Skip. Why would you have a contract run through January 14th? So theoretically, Skip, he could have been in the middle of the playoffs and not have a contract. I thought that was an odd way of, structuring the contract to begin with. Skip, this is odd for me, especially since his contract is up. Now, I can see if he had 2-3 years left on his contract and you're trying to come up with a financial arrangement. Okay, Jason, this is what we're going to do, something of this nature. But I don't understand these 3 meetings. I do get it, because Jerry's doing everything in his power, Skip, to find a way to keep Jason Garrett. Because Jason Garrett fills a lot of roles. He fills the main role of being a punching bag. He allows Jerry to do what Jerry always wants to do, really coach a team without having to be there on a day-to-day basis, not having to sit in meetings and game plans and do all that things. But he also, Skip, look, Jerry wants a guy that has the mindset, the offensive mind prowess of, say, a Sean Payton or Josh McDaniels, or even the guy for the Rams, Sean McVay. But he also doesn't have that ego either. So Jerry gets to say whatever, and he can criticize him. Well, he should have gone for it on 4th down. Second guess his head coach publicly. Now, behind closed doors, I believe there have been a lot of owners that have probably second guessed some of the decisions their head coaches made, but not publicly like this, Skip. And so for me, I think Jerry and the Jones family, Stephen and all those Charlotte, Jerry Jr. sitting down, and they're trying to come up. How do we keep Jason Garrett? How do we sell keeping Jason Garrett while also trying to convince the fan base this is the right decision and this is the guy that gives us the best opportunity moving forward to get to and win a Super Bowl? How do they do that, Skip? Considering what you've seen, well, nothing he can do. Short of firing Jason Garrett, there's nothing Jerry Jones can do to appease one Skip Bayless. You made that abundantly clear. But I'm trying to reconcile. What I'm trying to do is trying to wrap my mind, okay, they had a meeting on Monday. Then they had another meeting. Took yesterday off. Now they have a meeting today. What could Jerry possibly be saying? What is Jason saying that, okay, Jerry, now I'll be willing, you give me this guy on my offensive staff and take 2 or 3 guys away, I think we can get it done. Skip, that's the only thing that I can come with. It doesn't necessarily mean that Jason Garrett's going to be there. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to leave. I just find it odd, and everybody finds it odd, that after 3 meetings, after you wanted him, you were going to literally fire him on the way back from New England, but then you wrap your arms around and say you guys have had a football life together. I'm like everybody else. I'm confused what's taking so long. Whatever the decision is.
I am not confused. I have one question before I begin my rant today. Is there any way that we could figure out a way to impeach Jerry Jones? Is there a way? No. Could he be impeached just in the House? I'll take just in the House.
No.
Could he be impeached in the Senate and the House? I don't know. Could we take it to the Supreme Court to get him impeached?
Maybe.
Could we?
Maybe his family. Maybe the 3 siblings.
I don't know. Could we? Because that's the only way out of this nightmare that I'm continually in day after day after day after the nightmare season ended. Because as much as it tears me apart to admit this publicly, I have finally given up and I have given in to the fact that Jason Garrett will be the head coach of my Dallas Cowboys on opening day of the 2020 football season. Let's just sit back and look at what's happening here.
Okay.
As crazy and against the grain as Jerry Jones can be, there is no way he's going to bring back the quote-unquote lame duck head coach that everybody has fired. All the media outlets, all the credible reporters said Sunday night he's gone. There's no way that Jerry Jones is going to bring that guy in for 3 meetings and fire him. It's not going to happen. That would just be cruel. And the last thing Jerry wants to do to a guy he treats like his son, Jason Garrett, is to be cruel, to let him, as they say, twist in the wind for an entire week after the season is over.
Right.
So I can tell you for a fact, I know Jerry in and out. I interviewed him for hundreds of hours for 3 books I wrote on the Dallas Cowboys. He's a shrewd operator, especially when it comes to public relations. So how do you think it has been reported that there were 3 meetings with Jason Garrett? How did that get out?
Jerry.
He leaked it. He leaked it every time. Why did he leak it, Mr. Sharpe? Because he wanted to ease Cowboy Nation into the fact that Jason will be retained.
Right.
He wanted to leak 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings to prepare and condition the psyches, the battered psyches of Cowboy fans to prepare for it's happening again. So instead of one big press session, one big press conference, one big media session in which he said, I have decided to retain Jason Garrett, no, that's not happening. He's going to ease you into it until it's just a foregone conclusion.
Sure.
By next Monday, by January 14th, it will just be foregone. Oh, we're going forward with Jason Garrett. And I'm going to assume that he will extend that contract for at least 2 years because you wouldn't want to bring him back
Correct.
as
Yes.
another one-year wonder again, right? On the
Correct.
hot seat for a whole year. You'd want to send the message, well, I'd at least have him for 2, and it could be 3. So, look, all they're doing now is they're having what you call organizational meetings. They are now discussing, what can we do to improve the coaching staff? Should we fire him and hire him? Should we go after him? Should we do this? Should we do that? They are also discussing, how can we improve our most obvious weaknesses on the defensive side of the football? Should we cut him? Should we go here? What should we do in free agency? Should we go draft heavy on all defense through the draft?
Skip, you remember last week it was reported that they're having Jason Garrett doing the final interviews of the players. Why would you do that if you're having a new coach? He's going to evaluate the players once he gets there.
Yeah.
Bingo.
They don't need Jason Garrett
Thank
to do
you.
that.
Because he's still the head coach and he will be the head coach on opening day. So I'm going to stress this again. Remember, Jason Garrett has been a coach under Jerry Jones for the last 13 years. That counts it's like 4.5 actually as the offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to remind everybody that Jason was the backup quarterback, with Jerry as the owner, obviously, and the general manager, backup to Troy Aikman for 7 years. Jason Garrett has been with Jerry Jones for 20 years. That's a long time. And he's still a fairly young man.
20 of his 30 of owning the
Okay, you got it. It's with this guy. He is really a good guy. Mm-hmm. He is a great dinner companion, ask Bill Belichick, and he's an even better drinking companion, ask Jerry Jones, because what Jerry loves to do the most, especially on Friday afternoon, that's the time they, as Jerry would say, let their hair down. They go out and have beer and nachos into the wee hours and discuss what's going to happen on Sunday afternoon, the GM and the head coach. And that's his favorite time of the week, and it's going to be going forward with Jason Garrett, whom he treats like a son. Now, just for the record, there have been a number of credible reporters, as I mentioned, who have reported last Sunday night, he is gone. And David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, known David forever, he wrote this last night into this morning. There are still no indications that Garrett, whose contract expires, as you said, on January 14th, will be retained. No indication. So David's still digging in, as is Ed Werder. They're still saying there are no indications that he's coming back.
What's the indication he's going to be fired?
Thank you. Thank you. I got it. And David goes on to write, once you get past the owner's emotional reluctance to pull the trigger on someone he loves and respects, it's difficult to explain why there's been no resolution. There's been no resolution because it's going forward. I give up and I give in. So at this point in my Cowboy rooting life, and again, I go all the way back to age 10 when I saw my first game and I was hooked. Cotton Bowl in Dallas. I now have no choice but to either cut bait with my Cowboys, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't help myself. So seriously, I have no choice but to jump back on board. I have no choice because Jerry Jones is simply the most positive human being I've ever been around for an extended period. He sees everything as glass is half full. I keep seeing the 8-8 glass is half empty because the truth is it's about all empty, right? Even at 8-8. But now I have to go back to glass is half full. So I'm saying, okay, they did put up historic numbers on offense. They are historic, and we're going to discuss them in a later topic because they are off the charts.
Okay.
Out there in somewhere out in the universe, historic numbers. They outgained the Baltimore Ravens, as explosive as they were, by almost 400 yards this year. And again, we can debate why that was, but again, Jerry can just look at that and say, okay, I'll buy into that.
Right.
You know, I'll buy back into Jason Garrett because he presided over that, right? Then you look at the every other year syndrome with Jason Garrett. And I'm sure Jerry's sitting back saying, we won the division 2014, we won it in 2016, we won it in 2018. 2020 or bust.
It's an even year.
Oh, 2020 or bust. Me and Jason together again.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.